There's so many different ways to play the guitar, and I'm at a great spot to learn a little bit of all of them. I am definitely trying to learn to like do the two-hand approach and, you know, pull off all the fingers and do that because I think it's really, really cool. I'm trying to like learn more about sweep picking because that's cool, and maybe even a little bit of hybrid picking. And I've been practicing different. I'm just trying all of it because I feel like why not? Hey everybody, I'm Jordan Rudess. I'm the keyboardist in the group Dream Theater. And I'm quite honored today to actually be talking to Isaac, who is from Strandberg, and discussing my passion for playing the guitar in these amazing guitars, which actually is quite new. It's been about 3 months to this day that I've been really focusing on the guitar, so it's been an amazing, cool journey. When I was very young, many, many years ago, my brother was studying guitar, and although he wasn't learning anything, I was kind of watching his lessons. This is before I played the keyboard. So I would pick up his guitar occasionally, and I would kind of noodle and kind of find some notes and just play a couple chords. And so through the many years, I would play the guitar, like I'd pick it up one day and noodle around and find some stuff. And then I wouldn't play for like 6 months or a year, and then I'd pick it up again for a couple days, and I wouldn't play for 2 years. And finally, recently, I decided that, you know what? I can move my fingers, I've got a good ear, I know all these great guitar players, I really want to play this thing. And one of the factors that came into my life to make it so enjoyable was this guitar, because there's just something about it. I mean, I've, you know, touched a lot of guitars and a lot of great guitars too. Something about this one, it's like the weight, it's the ergonomics, it's the way it feels, it's cool. I just like holding it. It's like, it's hard to describe, but it's really pleasurable. Coming from like a piano background, I mean, people have been playing the piano like advanced technically for hundreds and hundreds of years. With the guitar, I feel like it's not quite the same. We're at this kind of like renaissance with the electric guitar, where you have all these incredible players, like the technique, like you find all the virtuosos now in kind of like the rock medium. I just think that that's so incredible. It's a new time for like, you know, guitar playing. And I was talking to one of my guitar player friends about it the other day. I was saying, you know, it's really pretty incredible because, you know, 20 years ago, 30, 40 years ago, nobody played like they play now. And that's a unique thing with the electric guitar. So you've got this instrument that's kind of in its heyday, which is really very cool. My friend Pellini actually arranged for me to try the Strandberg guitars, I don't know, about a year and a half ago or something like that. And when I got it, I knew it was really, really special. But you know, my life is really busy and I didn't spend much time with it. But every time I'd like pass it, you know, like in the studio, I'd look down and go, oh, I gotta really spend some time with that because it's so cool. And then when I finally like, you know, started to play every day, this is the one that I went to, and again, it just felt right. I mean, these are beautiful guitars. I'm not just saying that. I really love this thing, and love it to the point where I'm now on a U.S. tour. Actually starting a world tour with Dream Theater, and I'm like, I got all this like guitar equipment together, and I'm taking my Strandberg every day into the hotel room, and I'm like asking John Petrucci for tips, you know, and it's just a serious thing now. It's really awesome. I realized that I had, first of all, so many great guitar player friends and acquaintances, and I thought, wow, like maybe these people would want to help me on this journey and like, you know, kind of show me some things. So I started to reach out first to the people that I knew, And then I just kind of got lost in this like space, like in Instagram, because once you kind of enter that space, you're like, you know, going down the rabbit hole, because there's so many guys who are technically proficient at the guitar. So I started to get really turned on by some of these videos, and I would reach out to some of the guys that did different things and kind of say, hey, you know, my name's Jordan Rudess from Dream Theater, and I really am kind of like, you know, wanting to learn some more guitar. Would you show me something? And so the response I got was so wonderful. People were just excited about connecting. A lot of them are big Dream Theater fans. And for me, it was amazing because I was now a new fan of their playing. So I discovered all this amazing talent, and I also met a lot of new friends, which is cool. Working with one of the best guitar players in the world, who actually has an incredible guitar himself, has always been inspiring. And what's interesting about working with John Petrucci is that we work closely together compositionally, musically, in every way. But when we work, there's always a difference, like in terms of the way he perceives, like coming up with compositions or phrases and the way I do. And he talks so much about shapes and things. And I would always hear him discussing that, talking about it, but it never made a whole lot of sense to me. And now that I'm playing the guitar more, it's starting to come together. Like I'm starting to say, oh my God, like there's all these shapes. And you know, I told him the other day, like, I think I get it. Because to me, like when I first picked up the guitar, like seriously, I looked at the fretboard, it's like, almost looked like a blank piece of wood. And then I start like, you know, looking at it and going, you know, okay, so if I play a D here, then you know, I got a D here and a D here, and I can start, you know, kind of assembling where things are. And that was really cool, and it was like an awakening. I went, wow, you got an octave, and so finding everything has been like this whole other kind of like journey. I often talk about what it means or what it takes to be a musician and to be someone who can take what's in their mind and put it out musically. And what it comes down to is it's so much deeper than just sitting around like just, you know, playing scales or arpeggios or whatever it is, to go kind of into a more spiritual place. I mean, it all comes from who you are as a person. And if you're a grounded person and you can breathe and you can relax and kind of take in the energies around you and be comfortable having them transmit through you, then that's going to be, you know, your best way to be a great musician and to be able to express yourself. One of the things that I'm really super aware of is like, you know, how you feel when you're in front of really large crowds. Because in my experience, you know, I've played for one person, I've played for 80,000 people. It doesn't matter how much you practice on your instrument, like playing the part or whatever, moving your fingers. What really matters is practicing how you want to feel. Like, you know, you're playing something really super hard and you kind of got it down at home, whatever. But then when you stand up in front of 50,000 people, it might just fall apart unless you really practice literally how do you want to feel when you play that part. That's a like super important kind of like message from my experience, because you want to be able to kind of call upon that. It's almost like when you're learning to meditate or something like that, and somebody says, okay, like imagine that you're on a beach and the sand is really soft and the waves make this great sound. Well, it's kind of like, you know, when you're on stage at a big festival and you're playing your guitar or your keyboard or whatever, you got to go back to that headspace. I think that's one of the most important things that I could share. Well, for me, one of the reasons that I decided to play the guitar more is because I felt like, you know, I can move my fingers and basic stuff like going. Felt kind of like almost natural because of my fluidity. So in a sense that, you know, putting my fingers down on the instrument and just kind of hammering is kind of like the same as the keyboard, but of course the difference is like that pulling off is totally different. So if I go upwards, I go like, and I'm just banging my fingers on the guitar. That's very keyboard-like. Like I'm trying to learn this approach where you kind of go and use the right hand, but the complication for me is the pulling off part of it. So it's a combination of using my keyboard. I mean, I can tap, which is pretty cool. So I'm close, I'm getting there. I'm really practicing, and if I can learn all these techniques, maybe I will be able to incorporate them and make some cool stuff happen.